That does indeed look fantastic, but it does beg the question, which type of spine is the best? Hello my brothers and sisters, my name is Daidarius, and a few months back I actually made this video where I discussed what is most important, the cover of a volume, which helps you be immersed in the story, or the spine of the volume, which is gonna dictate how your collection is gonna look, and is also where it's gonna spend 99.9% of the time. Well, I actually want to dive a bit more into that spine segment and try to discuss the different types of spines, and then, if I can, give you the answer of which ones do I think is the best. There are a lot of different type of spines, and I'm gonna try to cover the most common ones. And the first one is one which we mostly consider the most boring, and it is this one, the uniform spine. All the spines have very simple design and are completely identical. Nothing changes from volume 1 up until whatever the final volume is gonna be. It's one coherent blob. Now the good thing about that is that it unifies the series. When you take a look, just a quick glance on your shelf, you can quickly identify, yes, that is indeed the series that I bought. In this case, Soul Eater. It springs into your eyes because there's this big giant chunk of bright yellow. That looks awesome. There you have it. Hall of Soul Eater. But it also makes it kinda boring because everything is the same. You just have a big freaking block of, in this case yellow, but whatever color it is, it's just that. It could have just as well just been a big box set where you just had a brand box, put that on the shelf and then call it a day. Yes, your series is very distinct from everything else on the shelf, but I mean, come on. Is that all you're gonna have on your shelf? Just rectangles of unified colors here and there? It looks like a low poly rendering of a manga shelf. So what else do we have? Well, a different one is where you have the same design, but you have a changing thumbnail on the spine, which starts to at least break off the monotony of what the former entry did. And it is also here you can kind of start to see the personality of the series, and especially the artist, to shine through. It is often also the most common way to do spine art. Just the same design for the spine with this little thumbnail changing. But another unique thing you can do with that is that you can indicate where the story either takes a time skip or just a complete shift of the story. The most common example is either Dragon Ball, with Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z having distinct colors. Naruto has the same as well, and in my collection you have Elusive Samurai, where the first part is in red and then you have a time skip and then the one after is in white. You can have a lot of creativity here, but it is still the most safe bet ever, because you're not doing much, you're just changing the thumbnail. Even if it makes it easy to distinguish this series from all the other series on the shelf, it still lends itself to be a bit bland in my opinion. So, do we have anything else? You bet your ass we have something else, which is, how about we just go absolutely ham with colors? Take Pokemon Adventures, for example. There's a lot out there. Most of the volumes are a unique color. Here I've just had the first 2 volumes, but you can see here there is a lot of colors in Pokemon Adventures, and it makes the shelf pop a lot. When you see all those colors popping, just take a look at Dandadan, for example. All of these volumes pop. It makes the shelf interesting to look at. Not boring, not bland, not uniform, but pop. It is such a joy to the eyes, and you never get tired just glancing over your collection when you have volumes like that. The other good thing is that it makes your collection unpredictable, because what's the next color gonna be? You do not know. I don't know. Maybe the artists don't know. But one issue I have with it, if I had to pick one, is that if all series on the shelf is a different color, then all your series is kind of the same. Yes, the color combination, and is it gonna be neon colors, pastel colors, or something else, it's gonna distinguish them, but it doesn't change the fact that your shelf or your series is just gonna look kind of the same. It's just random colors overall, and just with the unified series like Soul Eater and Fire Force, it's gonna be a bit bland in the end. So you're just shrinking your bit block of unified colors to a single volume and then just gone ham all over your collection. There's no unity in all your series. And a different aspect is that since you're doing colors, you could use those colors to reflect the story that is confined inside the volumes, but almost no series does this, and I don't know why. I can remember one, which is Goodnight Pun Pun, whereas the further you go, the darker the colors gets, and believe me, the story in it also gets a lot darker. So, but that is the only story that I have of recent memory where the color of the volumes kind of reflect the content inside of it. But it is still the most common one for a good reason, because at least it's not big blobs of one color, it's a lot of small colors. But can we get a bit more creative, a bit better than that? You are absolutely right, because when we are talking about great spine art, one always pops up in the conversation, which is not 20th Century Boys, but connected spine art. This is often the best of both worlds. You have that each spine is a bit distinct from the others because it is a small part of a larger art piece, but also it unifies the story. Whatever this series is, well, it is confined to this art piece. You have it with 20th Century Boys, you have it with Fist of the North Star, you have it with Alice in Borderland, you have it with Dragon Ball, of course, and the list goes on. I more often than not prefer this approach because it makes your collection more interesting to look at. You're not only just looking at colors, you're looking at art pieces, which is what your manga collection is. It is a collection of art pieces. They are distinct from each other, so you can see here is one series, here is the other series, and it never gets boring most of the time. A different thing is also that it kind of gives character, not only to your collection, but also to the series. It often reflects what type of series it is. It is wacky, it is dark and brooding, or is it something else? And it gives you a sense of completion, because not only is it awesome when you finally get that final freaking volume of a series, but if it is a connected spine art, you're getting the final piece of an art piece. Oh, just when I got the final volume of Fist of the North Star and I could see this connected spine art in all of its glory, holy shit, the satisfaction. But it also begs the question, is there anything else? Because now we have pretty much peaked, but what if you have one freaking long ass series, like, I don't know, 100 volumes long, and it was all connected spine art? Then it's gonna be a bit hard to distinguish it. So is there anything else you can do? Well, before we tackle that question, there is one other big elephant in the room. Because the other thing you have is, of course, the old book look. This looks like a book from a middle-aged library. Black, leather bound. It looks like it confines the history of the local market for the past 20 years. My point being, it looks boring as shit. Now don't mind me, I actually like the design, but when you're talking about a manga collection, it doesn't really stand out. I mean, you have been looking at my Berserk spines for I don't know how many videos. It does looks great. It's also kind of boring, and it also kind of misleading. It does not reflect what is in here. It does not reflect that this is a very visual, very dark manga. It just looks like a lexicon of the region Berserk or whatever. Not only is it misleading and kind of boring, it also gives a different vibe to your collection, because I mean, just me glancing all over the volumes that I have, a lot of them has a lot of character, and yes, some of them have the problems we've already discussed, but at least it looks like a manga collection. Then you have this odd one out that just looks like an old library book on some castle library. It's kind of hard to make it fit in. Again, I appreciate the design, but I've also seen better usage of the deluxe formats. The one I always brings up is of course Akira. It's a deluxe edition, but it still have that distinct manga look and feel to it. But of course, that begs the question for my formal question, which is, if you have a long ass series, connect the spine art, is that still the way to go, or is there a better one where you make sure that you have a sense of completion? You also make sure that it's not the same and gets boring, but kind of distinct. We actually do have one. And for now, I only have one example of that, but it is this bad boy. JoJo's Bizarre Adventures in Viz's hardcover releases. Every single part is distinctively unique. It has a unique design, it has unique color scheme, it has a unique feel to it, but they also are quite similar, especially when you see them on the shelves. So you're not confused if, is this the same series? Yes, it is, but it's different parts. They are unified. They show you they are one single series, but it also show you distinct characters. They show you some changing art style. It makes your shelves pop. It makes your shelves have a character. It has all the sass. And it is definitely, when we're talking long series, some of the best spine arts that I can think of. The only way to improve this spine would be if it also had connective spines. I mean, that would just be God tier. But that is also kind of my answer to the question of what is the best spine for a manga collection. But one thing you have to keep in mind is that there's a part of what looks great on the shelf, right? But the other one is what reflects you best. Because a manga collection is also a reflection of who we are, of our taste, of what we like, of what we are interested in. Sometimes we have manga series that we not necessarily love, but it is something we're interested in and we try to broaden our view, our taste, what we like to actually experience. A manga collection, just like the interior of your house, should show a reflection of who you are. And sometimes that reflection is unity, sometimes it is to distinguish yourself out from the norm. Sometimes it is to mislead, and sometimes it is that you don't want a single type of design, you want a lot to reflect the complexity of your character. Or maybe I'm just bird vomiting right now and just spitting bullshit because I try to be pretentious. I don't know. There's a high chance that is exactly what's happening. But that also begs the question, what do I think is the best spine design? And I think connected spines is the way to go. It shows a form of unity, and completion for that matter. It shows this is the series. It makes it easy to distinguish that series from everything else. Artists can go absolutely crazy with it. And of course, it is easier to show the style and the character of this series that you have collected. But more importantly, if you can combine that with whatever JoJo's Bizarre Adventure have done, where also all the spines are a different theme and different color scheme, then that makes your collection pop a lot more. But that begs the question, what do you think? What do you prefer? Are you one of those that wants the deluxe edition and just make it make it seem like you have a library of high fantasy, high literature novels on display? There is not a drawing in sight. Please don't look into the volumes. Or do you want just all the colors in the world to pop? You want every single volume to be its own color scheme? Do you want all the volumes in a single series to be the same? Like you're looking at Fire Force and thinking, that is some top tier spine design right there. Or do you just prefer the changing thumbnail and then calling it a day? There is a lot of way to look at this, but I have given you my answer, but I will very much look forward to see what your answer is gonna be. Maybe you think I'm wrong, maybe you think I'm right, maybe you think that is a stupid ass question. Manga designs are what they are and you just have to live with it. But whatever you think, comment on me your thoughts and so I'll see you next video. Just remember to stay awesome. See ya. Now the question is, since I've done this video on spine design, should I do another one on covers?